Yeah, I don't hear them you.
Yeah, and Vivian doesn't have You're welcome.
Oh, yeah, that's
It's probably the most I've heard in the entire office. Who else?
It is. Phil, I'm going to pass you a couple of chairs.
I hear this guy's fantastic.
Is that it?
This guy's fantastic.
You want a couple more chairs? Let's see.
Oh, yeah. Good
Just seats in the front.
Couple on this side. Okay, how are you?
How are you?
You made it? Anybody else, Phil? Okay, well, welcome everyone. I hope the plant tour was exciting and you saw a lot of interesting things going on downstairs. This year we have come up with the slogan of what's changed in the direct marketing over the last 20 years, and the answer to that is just about everything. Having said that, we also realize that the world is changing. Unfortunately, not always for the good. So before we start today's presentation, I'd like to take a moment of silence for the victims in Orlando, Florida. Thank you. What's driving these changes? Technology, of course. And we've been a strong supporter of technology and how it interacts with direct mail for many of our clients. And we know that that's the direction that we need to be in, and we know that that's the direction that our clients need to go in. Our industry has made remarkable advancements when it comes to technology and data, and using that to advance printing and advance personalization technologies and using all the different channels as one to create a better return on investment for your typical direct mail pieces. We've put together this seminar with some of our strategic partners. Dave Lewis, who is the president of Snailworks, we've been working with him over the last several years on any kind of technology that enhances direct mail, and he's going to be our first presenter. Sorry about that. Been doing a lot of talking today. And I'm not going to bother giving you his whole background because I really feel that he's just become an expert in the field of integrated marketing. So I'll leave it with you.
Thank you, Dennis. That's the second time I've been called an expert today. So good morning. I appreciate everyone being here today. And a little background. I've been in mailing is my first love. I've been in the mailing business for about 35 years, something like that, since I was 4, and done a lot of the technology side of things. Tried to make mail better. If you're familiar with Track My Mail, that was our company back in the early 2000s. And when I got back in the mailing business, I kept going to seminars that told me that I had to do integrated marketing. That was just direct mail was old news, and I had to learn to do integrated marketing. But no one told me how to do it. So it seemed kind of complicated. So we sort of developed our own system, and that's where Snailworks came from. And we've been around for about 4 years. One of the earliest partners we had was Prompt, and Dennis and Phil. We've worked with a lot over the years. Any technology we've come out with, they've been one of the first to adapt it to their clients and put it to practical use, and really done a lot to help us build our company and to build our technologies as gone through. So it's been a very good partnership, certainly for us, and hopefully for Prompt as well, to try to add these new technologies. So, and you know, one of the things is what do you call this stuff? What is it? I hear a lot of different names for what we do. Multi-channel marketing, cross-channel marketing, integrated marketing. My favorite new one is omni-channel marketing. They all mean fundamentally the same thing. A lot of them are sort of brand names now. Different entities say, well, oh, multi-channel's old, we do omni-channel now. What it really all is in our vision is coordinated direct marketing. We're all doing multiple channels. I'm guessing certainly everyone in this room is doing direct mail. You're probably doing email marketing. You certainly have web pages. So what we're really talking about is taking those channels and trying to tie them together into a coordinated effort to make each of them more effective. So that's really what it is. So you can call it what you want, but it's coordinating different marketing channels. The channels we deal with, again, my background is mail, so I don't deal so much with blimp advertising or TV commercials. Really kind of dealing with channels that make sense with direct mail. So these are the primary channels we're talking about. Direct mail is still the essential channel. There are things that direct mail does that no channel that I know of no other channel that I know of can really do. Probably the best thing about direct mail, one of the things I like about it, is that it's not permission based. The Postal Service, they are very good sports about putting a piece of mail in a mailbox if it's got a stamp on it. You don't need permission to do that, generally speaking. So, and I understand with email, you're only supposed to send people to email to people you know. But sometimes you want to, maybe we want to make new friends. You can do that with direct mail. You can reach out and put it through. There's more of an exclusivity to direct mail. I asked this question in the earlier group, we'll probably get the same answer. How many people here will get more than 25 emails today? How about more than 100? Most of you probably will, whether you know it or not, because you've got spam blockers getting rid of that for you. And so it's not. In fact, it's kind of funny in a reverse situation. Back in 1994, I joined AOL, and I was Dave the L at AOL.com. And when I would, after I get the funny modem noise on my phone and connect, every now and then a voice would say, "You've got mail," and that was really exciting. I had an electronic mail waiting for me. It's not so exciting anymore. Email is very prevalent, but how many people will have more than 20 pieces in your mailbox at home? Okay, we got one. You too many catalogs. It sounds. You don't. Generally, there's more of an exclusivity to direct mail. You know, the good and the bad of it is direct mail is a more exclusive channel these days. So there's some very good, powerful things about direct mail. It's a channel that simply works, but there's some negatives to it, or some challenges to it, I guess. When it gets delivered, it's not as precise. I can tell you exactly when an email is getting delivered. Direct mail, I can guess the week if it's standard mail. Sometimes you can do better, but it's more difficult. And direct mail is expensive. Sorry, Phil, but it's a relatively expensive channel, and it's an investment, and it's money well spent. But you are investing a lot of money when you do a direct mail campaign. Sometimes if I just get a hankering and I want to write an email to 10,000 of my closest friends, I will do that. I'm less casual if I'm going to send them direct mail because it costs more. So there's an associated cost with direct mail, and so what we're trying to do with these other channels is compensate for the weaknesses of direct mail, and also make sure that we enhance our investment in it so that it's more effective. So all these other channels, in a coordinated marketing effort, we're trying to make them more effective. Email, a very powerful channel to coordinate, but open rates are low. There's challenges to that. Your email will perform better if someone's gotten a direct mail piece. Telemarketing, where you don't have email addresses. We're going to talk about IP targeting, kind of a cool new channel that's out there, which ties into web display and social media. So trying to tie all these channels into direct mail is sort of what our mission is. So why a campaign? Why do you create a campaign as opposed to doing just a mailing? Because or just any other channel as a standalone. Every marketing channel has weaknesses, and so the point of a multi-channel is to overcome the weaknesses and boost response. That's really all we're trying to do. Is we're trying to get better response with a campaign than you would with maybe just a direct mail effort, or just an email effort, or whatever that may be. Some of the advantages we see, you'll boost response. As I said, direct mail works, but it lacks an immediate response mechanism. And that is another liability of direct mail, which is when you get a piece of mail, if you look at it, you'll like the offer, and you will look at direct mail in most cases, you have to do something to respond. It requires effort to respond. There's not a button you can push on a mail piece. Not yet. When there is, Prompt will have it. But right now, there's generally not a button you can see. You have to call somebody. You have to go to a website, whatever it may be. And so you may say, a car deal. This looks like a great price for a car, or an interesting car like to get. And you set it down on your account and you forget about it. Car's probably a bad example. Say a replacement window. So I need windows. So you set the mail piece down, and then someone else puts the newspaper on top of it, and you forget about it. So if we can get you again that evening. With an email, and you go, oh yeah, I meant to sign up for that. And on an email, you can put a button on there they can respond to immediately. So that's kind of how one of the advantages of trying to make direct mail more effective. What we have found with email in particular, and that's kind of our core business model, is that we track mail using intelligent mail. When the mail piece gets there, we know it, and then we can trigger an email and to those addresses where we have email addresses. And when we can do that for house lists or customer lists where we have good amount of email, we'll usually see a lift in response of 10 to 30%. Every time when the email hits, we'll see a spike in response. It just works that way. It's certainly been our experience. And I think it's mostly because you get that additional response channel. It's another way to respond. So maybe it's not that the offer resonated more, but it's easy to respond. You can measure and adjust as campaigns go on. One of the differences, in mailing, I know, and again, my background is in the mailing business. So it used to be we would prepare a mailing, we'd stuff the envelopes, we'd address them, we'd take them to the post office, then we sort of push them off a cliff. We were done from a mailing perspective, and you wait and you see if you got response. If you didn't get response, that was sort of mission accomplished, and hopefully you did it. Hopefully it was a good offer. With a campaign, the campaign continues to unfold, so you can watch how it works. You can adjust. You can adjust what you're doing later on in the campaign. You can do subsequent efforts. You can continue to work a campaign after the initial drop. So we have one of our clients, and Every day she comes in and looks at her campaign dashboard, sees what's being delivered, decides if she needs to do more email, what she needs to do to keep her marketing efforts effective. So a campaign unfolds where a mailing is a single event, or maybe an email is a single event as well. You know, some of the numbers on multi-channel. Again, as we said, in our experience, having done hundreds of campaigns for our clients, we see if there's an email component, if we have email addresses, then invariably we see a 10 to 20% lift in response when the email hits, if you can coordinate that. And the timing of that coordination is very important. This was done by another organization who did a study of the response rates to an email that was sent to coordinate with direct mail. And it's a complicated, it's kind of a hard stat to follow, but it's effectively, some people when they send email in support of direct mail, they just kind of say, we'll send the mailing out, then 2 weeks later we'll send the email. Sometimes it gets there before, sometimes it gets there after, as opposed to precisely timing the email to get there the day of or the day after. And they found the email response doubled if they could coordinate it precisely with when the mail was delivered. And then 70% of consumers have said that they would rather connect with brands and businesses through multi-channel. Now, this does not mean people are going, you know, I love getting multi-channel campaigns, it's great. You know, I wish they would be wise for that. But what it is that simply people like to have a choice of channels and how they want to respond, what channels they enjoy getting. So consumers in studies do like getting multi-channel, multi-channel communication. So a couple of examples of some campaigns that we've done that have been effective. This first is for the Human Rights Campaign. It was and their objective here was to reach out to some of their bigger donors and find their preferred method of contact and try to gather email addresses for those who they didn't have email addresses for. So they started with a personalized postcard. You know, it's one of the nice things about digital printing. They have big personalization on the back of it. And then the evening that arrived, right way on that. The evening that arrived, they sent a coordinated email. You can see it carries the same theme. It has the heart there and the "We love you," or I guess it's "We heart you" technically, branding there, and it took them to a landing page, which was a survey that they filled out. And so it was a very effective means of doing this. In this case, they were trying to gather email addresses. They did, and this is the campaign. This is one of the beauties of working in campaign. Is if you set one of these up through Prompt, is you have this dashboard to work with where you can see all your results. Across here, how much mail it is, how many emails there were, when the mail got delivered. All the stats are on one page. In this case, with 75,000 pieces of mail, they got about a 5.4% response rate of people who went to the survey, and of those, 3.3 filled it in. This was much more effective than when they had done these channels independently. So by tying them together, and by having this tool to measure it, they could measure it much better, and it was very effective for them. Another campaign for the American Röntgen Society, and they're a DC area. They're a society that works with X-ray technicians, essentially. And again, this was a renewal effort. They are very steady users at this point of multi-channel marketing. So this was the postcard they sent out, and then this was the email they sent, again, to try to support that. And you can see that they look very similar. So if you got this postcard and you get that email, you know you're looking at the same campaign. You know they coordinate. So it gave them another chance to reply. And then this is the landing page they went to, where they could click a button there to go ahead and complete the application. And we hosted the application online. This has turned about, they run all their renewals this way right now. It's been a very effective channel for them. This is the result rates for that. 16,000 pieces of mail. On this one, they had 9 people who signed up so far. This went out in May, so this is still a fairly fresh campaign. But the thing I wanted to show you that was interesting, this client, who I know pretty well, she comes in every day and she grabs a cup of coffee and she brings her dashboard up and looks at what's going on with her marketing each day. And this is the dashboard she looks at. So this was an earlier campaign. It mailed on March 24th. They mailed out about 8,000 pieces of mail. This was renewals. And then so far they've done 40,000 emails. They keep, when the response goes down, she sends another email. So it's kind of charted across the bottom here. So they mailed it on March 24th. On May 17th, and that's when I made this slide, it's probably been going on since then, they continue to get response. This campaign is still working for them. So if you just did a mailing on March 24th, it's done by the middle of April. But they're getting a lot more life out of these, because as long as she's still getting a response, she'll keep doing email to try to build these. I think she has this open. She'll usually put a time frame when she closes them. So again, by making it a multi-channel campaign, she can continue to keep the same campaign alive much longer. So the process of building a multi-channel campaign, and again, you can work. Prompt has a lot of experience. We've worked with them extensively on many of these campaigns. So they kind of walk you through the process of what you have to do. So there's some rules and tools, if you will, some business rules you need to be aware of, and then Prompt and Snailworth working together kind of give you the tools to make that happen. So to tie the channels together, first of all, mail tracking is a very important aspect of it. It's a mystery to me, anyone who doesn't track their mail at this point. It's just such a fairly easy and obvious thing to do. But that intelligent mail barcode on your mail piece is unique to every mail piece. Every mail piece essentially has its own driver's license, or not driver's license, just license plate, I guess is more the term. And it used to be, that was a big, if you remember that, and only mailing nerds would notice this, because the barcode changed in 2006. Before 2006, when I would go to cocktail parties, I would entertain the guests by reading the barcodes on their mail. And I went to very few parties. But now with intelligent mail, everything's got its own unique barcode, so I need a new party trick. But that's but mail tracking, we can tell precisely when each piece of mail is being delivered, and so we can really tightly coordinate other marketing channels. Email tracking, again, email is kind of inherently tracked. We know exactly when that's being delivered, what's been opened, who's clicked through. So a lot of information on that. And then response tracking, again, through the dashboards I was showing you. We know who's come to a landing page. And one of the tools we use is Perl, personalized URLs. So if someone uses a Perl, we can tell when they come to a landing page and personalize the landing page for them. And part of the art of creating, and I'm big on landing pages. I think everybody should have a landing page. And we'll talk a little more about that in a sec. So this is the thought process of creating a multi-channel campaign, which is not nearly as terrifying as it looks when I draw a flow chart. But this sort of used to be where direct mail ended. You drop the mail, and then you waited for a response. Well, now we can track the mail, see when the pieces are delivered. If a piece is delivered, we'll go to email. If they click on it, don't click on it, go to a landing page, don't go to a landing page. Whatever activity they take, we try to think through and anticipate what your prospects are going to do. And eventually everyone either ends up in the green bucket here, which is the database. That means they didn't respond this time, but we learned something about them, about what they like, what they didn't like, how they behave, or they're down here and it's a sale for us. So this is kind of the mental process we go through, and this is where we figure out what collateral we need, what digital assets we need to put together to build a campaign. And again, this is one of the nice things about working with Prompt, with someone, which is they're going to do this for you. Bill, do you draw those flowcharts?
Whiteboarding software.
Yeah. Everyone's terrified when Bill calls with one of those, by the way. But it's, and so as far as creating the mail piece, just a couple things on creating mail pieces as part of a multi-channel campaign is because it's part of a campaign. Do keep that in mind. You want to design something that can tie in logically with other components of the campaign, with other channels. Simple designs for multi-channel. We're fans of that when possible. Carrie from the post office is going to be talking in a few minutes about a new service called Informed Delivery, which is essentially everyone is going to get an image of your mail piece sent to their smartphone that they'll be able to see the morning that they're going to get it. So you need to start thinking in terms of how will my mail piece look on someone's smartphone as just a little image. So that's where simple designs do matter. Focus on the offer and call to action. And that is as marketing 101 as you can get. But we're surprised when we put campaigns together how many people haven't really thought through a strong offer or a strong call to action of what they're supposed to do. Especially, we do a lot of work around the country for printers, And it's, you know, printers all just want to say that we have the highest quality and the best presses, and we're fantastic. And I said, well, that's good, but that's not an offer. You know, we're fantastic, and I'll give you a $20 Amazon card as an offer. So do think through that, because we're always, the reason we care about offers, that's what sort of changed our relationship with our customers, is back when I was in a mailer, I didn't care what the offer was, because if you didn't get a response, it wasn't my problem. I just had to stuff the envelope correctly. But if you're doing a multi-channel campaign, I want people to go to my landing pages. So you need an offer to get them to go. As far as creating email, make it look like we generally suggest making it look like the direct mail piece, carry through the branding and look. Be sure to include a personalized link, a pearl. Very important. Some people don't like pearls on direct mail. It's a matter of taste. Some people don't want to type in davelewis.hailthesnail.com. It's a lot of stuff. But so I think they work generally. Depends on the circumstance. But putting a personalized link in an email is a no-brainer. It doesn't look any different than a non-personalized link. And that way, when they come to the landing page, A, you know it's them, so you know who it was, and B, you can personalize it for them. And then have a graphic artist. Usually, whoever's doing the design of the mail piece can do the design of the landing page at the same, or of the email and the landing page for that matter, at the same time to keep that theme through. Usually, when we're working with we don't do the artwork. Our clients do the artwork. And then when they do that, we'll take the art files and turn them into emails and landing pages. But so usually it's best to design them all together. So while the artist's there, create the landing page, follow the branding theme, and just want to push to conversion. Don't forget mobile. I'll talk about that in a sec. Mobile is a huge deal. We've noticed on our own marketing, which is B2B stuff, that well over 50% of the emails we send out these days, and any campaign we send out, landing page links are opened on mobile devices. So mobile is a huge issue. Having a good URL to have people come to. When we talk about personalized URLs, and just having a good, we call them GURLs, generalized URLs, is important. So come up with an image. It's the most fun part of creating a campaign, is coming up with a name for your page. We use Hail the Snail, your-profits.com. Whatever your clients will. I always try to say, try to pick a name that if your prospects saw it on a billboard, they'd remember it. So I'm talking about responsive design. This is which is because of all the different devices your prospects will be looking at your marketing on. This was a landing page for a show here in town, and so if you look at it on a desktop, this is what you saw. It's a beautiful image, and if you look at it on different devices, you'll see if you look at it on an iPad, it starts to reformat automatically. You can take it and squeeze it down on it, and you'll see it transform before your eyes. It's not like it's one or the other. It transforms to different channels. So, because this would not look good on an iPhone to have that big image and try to see it compressed on an iPhone. So if we can take it down to an iPhone, the whole formatting completely changes. All the content's still there. You scroll down to see it. The signups are more logical because then you can respond to the offer further down there. So that's responsive design. Do keep that in mind. When you take text and you make it big static images, it makes it much harder to be responsive on that. So keep that in mind as you design for these campaigns. It's a little bit of a difference. Social media is huge. I know on some of the campaigns we've done with Prompt, social media has been a big piece of that. You have this method of sharing with your campaign. So if you're sending out 100,000 pieces or 100,000 emails, you have a method of your customers have a method of sharing it to get sort of a viral spread of that. When we think of social media, I think too many of us think of Facebook, but YouTube is a huge social media channel. I think video may be the best channel that's out there, maybe one of the most powerful social media channels. And I asked this in the earlier group. Anyone here see the Gold of the Week? Trish Witkowski. She sends out emails every week. Someone said earlier said she had 300 episodes of this. All she does is show a different bowl. She's very enthusiastic, and she's got thousands of followers. Blendtech, Will It Blend is a blender company. Look it up on YouTube. all they do is put different things. He puts iPhones and things like that in blenders to see it. But they're great blenders. If I ever buy a commercial blender, it'll be a Blendtec, purely from social media. So it all links, you know, and so we try to tie all that to campaign. We link social media back to landing pages. We think landing pages are a huge deal. I think everyone should always have a landing page active. Again, we have a home page, but we also always have a landing page with an offer on it somewhere, so people can see us through that side. One other channel I want to talk to that's kind of unique, and we're very excited about this. This is something that's really starting to become a big deal, is IP targeting. And IP targeting is we can take your mailing list and match it against a list of IP addresses. It's most effective on business to consumer mail. But a list of consumer IP addresses, usually we can match about 50% of the addresses on the list, and then we can serve up web display ads on the computers of those people whose IP addresses we have. So you can do web display without, you don't have to put an ad on, you don't have to blanket a site where you can pick exactly which computers you want it to be on. We've seen this in neighborhoods where people are selling home improvements, so they can have IP ads appear at the homes around that. We've seen it with associations that don't have, not everybody is an accountant, so just accountants get the IP ads. A lot of different ways to manage that. But so this way, if you don't have an email address, it's still another way to reach them. Usually we try to get those out about starting 2 to 5 days before the direct mail gets there. Your prospects have been seeing ads for this offer, essentially, as they surf the web. It's usually the response we've seen, and you measure the response in how matched pieces do against unmatched pieces, not click-through rates, but how the direct mail response is. That's where our dashboards can be very helpful. And we've seen lifts to response of anywhere from 10 to 50% by having IP advertising before. Sort of, again, it's all about brand immersion. And if it's an offer immersion, they see this offer and it builds recognition. So when they see the mail piece, it's going to make it very effective. It's kind of we think this is going to be a big channel. If you haven't tried it, it's something you really want to consider testing. You don't need email addresses for it. And again, for measurement, that's one of the other nice things about working a multi-channel through Prompt and through the building a campaign through the Prompt and SnailWorks, is that you'll get this kind of measurement campaign. It doesn't take, your results are right in front of you, whether you like them or not. You're going to see how your campaign is doing, and you can start testing and try different methods and see how they influence it. The stat I found is that in a 2012 survey, in small businesses, 80% of small businesses do not measure direct mail, and 73% do not measure email. A lot of people do not do a good job of tracking how their marketing is doing. That's one of the advantages of doing a campaign like this. You can also keep your campaign active. One of the other things we'd suggest in that is, again, we talk about doing more email and keeping it alive in that respect. We can also use remarketing, which is essentially, and remarketing, if you ever look at a pair of shoes on the internet, you say, I'm not going to buy those today, and started surfing the web, and those shoes follow you everywhere you go until you buy them. That is remarketing. And we have planted a cookie in your browser that will keep those shoes following you around until you buy them. Sometimes it'll follow you even after you buy them. But so when you create a landing page, we think that's a very powerful thing, is to put a cookie in it, so if someone comes to your landing page and doesn't convert, then we're going to try to target them again and bring them back to the landing page through those ads or retargeting. So all things you can do to keep a campaign alive. You can send more emails. You can even send more direct mail. I know that Phil's a fan of that. But again, you can, using the dashboard, you can isolate who opened the email, who went to your landing page, and that's another opportunity to hit them with it. You have your best prospects isolated, so mail them again. Everything we've discussed here, we work with Prompt on these campaigns constantly, and so and all these, there's a lot of components to it, and a lot of them you're probably already doing, but what you're going to be able to do on a campaign is try to tie them together to make your direct mail more effective by putting other channels together with it. And then Prompt really is available to help you do that. That's their role in all of this. Any questions? Yes.
How do you track the IP addresses?
How do you track the IP addresses?
Right. Like how do you target them based on what the direct mail mailing?
There is there are a number of proprietary databases that keep that. Most of it is working through public records and through some of the ISPs that will do that. We don't, and you know, the IP addresses are not something that's shared.
Right.
Deliver the ads, you can't have the IP addresses. There are a lot of privacy issues, and we don't want to be creepy about it.
So you guys will do, it doesn't translate into a data because we have.
There's no data pen, no. It's we can deliver the ads.
How about for the emails? Do you guys offer that service?
You mean providing email address?
Email appends.
Right, doing it then.
No, they don't do it, but we work with a company that does provide the email addresses. We have not been very successful, to be quite honest. The number of email addresses that we're able to obtain is not a high percentage, and in using them, we're not getting a very good click-through rate. So we're not encouraging our clients to do it.
Yeah, we're not big fans. If you don't, email is great for customerless house files, and that's where email is very effective. Acquiring them, in our experiences, we haven't had a lot of success with it either.
We found actually the best way to get email addresses is through an inbound marketing campaign using multi-channel. You're offering something to them, and in order to give it to them, give us our email address, we'll give you a white paper or something.
White paper, yeah.
Any other questions?
One other question. In the flow chart, like you showed here, you talk about something, email's not open, okay, waiting 2 days. Do you continually resend to the unopens? Or
We
just
can.
one
That's a
time?
business rule we'll build. Either we can resend if you want, and really that's one of the things that we discuss in building a campaign strategy. There's no one way we do that. But we have that capability to build that tool to either resend it or just let it go.
And the value of doing this also is that on the fly we can make those changes, right? So that's another big value of doing this type of campaign is as we're analyzing the progress of the campaign, we could make changes. We had one client where we were monitoring downloads of content on a page, on a landing page, and we noticed that there was a big increase in one type of content over another. So we totally changed the whole landing page and the campaign to focus on that content because we noticed that content is what was driving most people to get to the next step.
Also, if they clicked on that content on the landing page, we can put a business rule in there to trigger an email saying, because you downloaded content A, we think you're going to like content B.
You know, what I like to tell clients when we sit down and actually come up with a strategy, and Phil and I do this, is the real value is, you know, a campaign is unlike a traditional direct mail campaign where it's, you print something, you mail it, that's the end of it pretty much. You wait for responses. What we're doing is we come up with a campaign strategy, we send out the direct mail piece, we start monitoring it because now we can measure what's happening. You start to find out a lot more about the campaign than just those people who were responding positively, and then we make changes as the campaign is live. So there's a lot more value behind it.
And that's where I think where our partnership works well too. Networks is kind of the machine. You know, Prompt are the guys turning the knobs and adjusting and making it, really doing the strategic piece of it.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yes. So is this a viable option for a small database? And I'm talking about just a handful of thousands of records.
How many records?
3,000.
It gets kind of expensive for
Right.
that small of a database. I mean, someone asked me in earlier session, you know, what's the cost? You know, everyone wants to know the cost, and, you know, and it varies. But if you said, I have a 50,000 piece mailing, and I wanted to send out pearls, and I wanted to track, and I wanted to send out trigger emails and all that, you're probably talking about an additional cost of somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000. Then the other part of that is, how do I personalize the piece? Because then that comes into play, right? There's more information I have to put on the direct mail piece. How do I do that? Do I do it simply by adding a pearl as I'm inkjetting, or do I need to laser the piece now instead of inkjetting the piece? So, you know, it's a multiple answer.
And it depends. If it's something, if they're high value prospects, then you're going to continue to market to them. It can work at those volumes, but it does get more expensive.
And the other good value is that once you create something, you can reuse those assets. So you're not, you know, we have one client now that's been using the same pearls, the same landing page
Since
December. You know, so each time they use it, the cost diminishes because the setup is there, everything is already been done. Yeah.
Who handles the ongoing production of the program? Is it somebody from Snailworks, or is it Prompt, or is it somebody from the company?
What do you mean the ongoing?
Like you sent out, you dropped the mail, you decide to email, and now after a certain time, you want to do that, you want to send out another email. Who's coordinating that effort?
We do that, yeah, we do that. We will monitor the campaign with the client as it's live, and we'll make certain suggestions as we're monitoring things, because maybe we'll see something that the client doesn't see, and we'll make suggestions on how to modify things. Yeah.
So you have your own email platform?
No, the platform is Snailworks. Any other questions? Great. Thank you very much, Dave. I wanted to mention that we have, if you haven't noticed already, in the reference guide, we have all the presentations printed out for you. And then if anybody wants it to be emailed to them, we can certainly do that as well. I also wanted to bring to everyone's attention, if you haven't realized already, in the front room, we have set up consulting rooms, one for the post office. So one of our presenters will be there to follow up with anyone on informed delivery. And we also have some other gentlemen here from the post office who can talk about any other issues that you may be having with the post office. In there as well is our 3D demonstration that's going on with Konica Minolta, and our augmented reality presentation, which a lot of people have been very fascinated. We were going to make that part of our presentation, but then we decided that people wanted to experience it, and that would be a better way to understand the technology, understand how it all works. We'll have people there answering any kind of questions that you may have, but the augmented reality is really cool stuff, and we have a lot of clients who are very interested in it. All of these things obviously enhances the direct mail piece. And that's what it's all about. How do I improve my direct mail piece? And that's what all of these services can provide. Our next presenter, I like to refer to him as our omni-channel, integrated marketing channel, multi-channel marketing guy. You know, my wife told me many years ago, Dennis, you need to start surrounding yourself with some younger people because they get it, and Phil gets it. He's been a wonderful addition to our company over the last several years, and he is my go-to guy when it comes to integrated marketing. The next presentation is all about membership cards. We've come up with a brand new product that refers to mobile membership cards, and I'll let him get into it even deeper. Thanks, Dennis.
The last session, I mentioned how my wife just recently graduated college. And thanks to technology, we were streaming live, and she corrected me. She, a graduate student, she graduated from graduate school. I got me. So that just shows how technology, you can adjust things on the fly.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned that, but we are streaming live, and we've had a good audience following us on YouTube and Facebook. I'm quite excited.
So with that said, I had me thinking, a lot of people are graduating, getting out of college and entering the workforce. So we're gonna have a whole new generation joining membership, professional organizations. They're gonna be engaged with their favorite charities, their nonprofits, and so on. We produce a lot of membership cards. They're very expensive to produce and personalize. And we said, how can we take this card and adapt it for the future and where the future is going? And we came up with a solution, a digital mobile membership card. Everybody carries a phone on with them. Not everybody will carry a wallet with them anymore. I think I'm one of the last in my generation that actually carries one of these. Everybody using the digital wallets, their Apple Pays and all that. So we came up with a solution that's a win-win for the end user and the service provider. And the reason why a digital membership card is beneficial for the service provider, it's now taking a cost and it's turning it into a revenue stream. And how so? A lot of organizations, professional organizations like this one here, we have Hertz Rent-A-Car, we have an insurance company. These affiliates pay money to have their advertisements on these cards. What better way to offer a solution for your affiliates to have them on this digital version that an end user can interact directly with. And another plus for the organization is if it's a membership based and it's time for renewals, because it's digital and on your phone, we can send push notifications to automatically renew membership. So that's evaluated right there. For the end user, they can access their benefits right from their mobile phone if the phones are always with them. So it's convenient for the end user. It's an additional revenue stream for the organization, and it's something we want to try and roll out.
Phil mentioned, how this now becomes a revenue stream. In addition, you could make purchases. So, for instance, if it's a museum, in this case, we're going to demonstrate a museum. If it's a museum and they're having a special event, you could make purchases to that event right on your mobile membership card. There's no phone calls. You just do it through the membership card. The other thing is if you have affiliates. And most of them do, but we again like to think outside the mailbox. If you have an affiliate with Open Table, you can have that on your membership card, and then Open Table now is going to be paying you for advertising space on your mobile membership card, which drives brand new revenue.
So this is a prototype we developed for the Metropolitan Museum. So right at the back you see it's designed where it's mobile optimized, and you can click on that, an actual digital card can show up. And one thing is, within memberships there's different tiers, and usually with different tiers of membership there's different color cards, and we've done that in the past, and that can get costly as people move up in tiers. You have to print a new card, you have to personalize a new card. Whereas digitally, all you have to do is swap out the asset, and then you're good. So it's a huge cost savings to do this. And then you also be able to track shopping behavior, when they visit it. So, you have location-based technology. It gives you much more information on the user rather than the plastic card that you're paying a lot of money for. So not only you're getting a lot of value out of this. These are just the benefits I mentioned. You can also put different offers on the membership card, so you can do an A/B test. So it gives you a lot of opportunities to test various marketing cards. Again, these are just the benefits for the end user and over. Social media, you can plug into this as well. So if someone is doing something with a nonprofit, they can share it right from their card, and then that gets other people engaged. So it really is good for the brand as well. There are two ways technically to go about this. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but there's a web-based and an app-based. We always recommend doing a web-based for a beta testing this. It's very easy to set up. It's no installation, so the end user doesn't have to have a Google account. They don't have to have an iTunes account to go download an app. whereas you just need an internet connection. Everybody with a smartphone, there's a lot of Wi-Fi hotspots. So this is a no-brainer way to test this product out and to see what development you want to put into it or take out of it. Once it's put in, then you may want to go into an app environment, which is more robust and more interactive features, and really don't have to rely on internet connectivity to interact. And also, if you really want to demo it, you can scan that QR code or visit that URL on your mobile browser. The QR codes are also in your handouts, and it can actually just give you a user experience. Rather than me here talk about it, it's better off just to actually try it out, just like we're doing with the augmented reality. Any questions?
How do you get to that? How do you make your customers get to that?
Direct mail. So again, you know, we're in direct mail, right? So the way this would work is you would send out a direct mail piece, and on the direct mail piece you would have two options. If you want to renew your subscription and get a plastic card, we'll do that. If you want to renew and get a mobile card, all you have to do is download a Pearl or download a QR code, and now it's up on your phone. So you always want to have those multiple options. You know, some of the museums, you know, we talked about their audience is an older audience, they don't get it. I don't believe in that anymore. I mean, to me, I'm old, and you know, and I get it. And I'd rather have it's something on my phone than have to carry around a card, which is useless to me. You know, so that would be our campaign strategy. It starts off with direct mail. The added value to that is now next year when my renewal comes up, if I'm the organization, I don't necessarily have to send you a direct mail piece. I could just send you a notice through the mobile app to renew now, and it's maybe just a click of the button. So it's a lot easier experience. That's what it's all about, making it easy.
And it's just a physical card, so there are no passwords needed.
I mean, we could build in those rules if you want. If the organization feels it's necessary, sure, we could always build in passwords and username. But most people feel it's not necessary. I mean, if you're carrying around a card, somebody picks up your card, they can use it, right?
If it was like a medical ID card, yes, I would say put a username and password.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're holding personal information in there.
And you also have, put an option on the digital card, say, send me a physical card. You just click that, and one gets mailed to you automatically.
This is initially done through a direct mail piece, the offer?
The offer, we would suggest, it doesn't have to be, but we would suggest that you send out, as you normally would, as an organization normally would send out a direct mail campaign for renewals, right? And those organizations that offer ID cards or membership cards, now you're giving them an alternative. Instead of having to send them a plastic card, which Phil mentioned earlier, they're expensive to produce, they're expensive to mail. And what's really preferred? What's the preferred method? Yeah, that's how it could be initiated.
And how are responses to this?
We've been getting some mixed. I mean, Phil and I developed this about a year ago, and we've presented it to a few of our clients who we send out a lot of membership cards for. Quite honestly, there's been some resistance. I think part of that resistance is it's new, and there's always the fear of doing something new. But there's also interest because, as we first said at the beginning of the presentation, what we're offering is to take something that is costing an organization money and turning it into a new revenue stream. And every organization is dying to do that, right? Reduce costs and drive revenue. So we think it has a lot of value.
Dennis, do you help sign up the advertisers who would be on the back of that card?
We don't, but we could. Sure.
Well, how does that happen?
Well, it's It's a
You
matter of
reaching out to
organizations, and in our opinion, why wouldn't someone like OpenTable or Uber or local restaurants that are surrounding a museum, why wouldn't they want to do it? It's
Yeah.
going to drive revenue, right? And some of them already, as Phil pointed out, it's ridiculous, but on the back of a plastic card, there's 6 affiliates already. Now, in order to use those affiliates, somebody has to dial a number or has to go to a web page. Using a mobile device, it's a click. It's a
Tap on
lot.
the phone number and that's it?
It's a lot easier experience, and that's why we think it becomes a lot more valuable. It's also something that could be tracked, right? If you wanted to make a deal with again OpenTable, and we could more than likely build something that can track who's using that membership card to use OpenTable, and the experience could be OpenTable gives back a donation, if you want to call it, to the museum every time someone uses their mobile membership card to make a reservation.
And there's no limit to how many organizations you can have, right?
You mean affiliates?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the back of the card is
On a
just
card, you're
one.
limited.
On a card, you're limited, but
Yeah.
on a mobile device, no, there's no limits.
No.
It's a professional organization.
And you could change it on the fly, right? So if you start off with 4 and then somebody else wants to become, you don't have to wait until next year's membership card. You can do it all on the fly.
Is this
Yes.
proprietary, PromptDirect?
Yes. We developed it, yes.
Your capacity to build in offers like through the affiliates through the app? Like let's say you have your card and you're like renting a car. Well, you can go in and look like what affiliates, oh here, I get 10% off of hers, or like
Oh,
something
sure,
like
yeah,
that.
because what it's gonna do, it's gonna drive you to their website.
Right.
So if they're on their website, they wanna give members of the Metropolitan Museum a special discount, yeah. And again, it's on the back of a card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Use Hertz and you get 10% off if you're a AICPA member.
Right.
You can do the same thing with a mobile card.
Okay.
How's the cost structure? Is it a one-time fee for setting it up and then it's?
There would be an initial cost and then a monthly maintenance cost. Because we're monthly, we're maintaining the,
With that at the.
that's how it would work. Yes.
Do they also get the metrics that go along with it? In other words, if you're hosting and you're taking care of the landing pages, are they able to track to see how many people have clicked on and all that?
I would say yes.
Okay.
I would say, anything that is done on a mobile device through our platform would be trackable. Sure.
The initial phase would be a discovery meeting and discussing strategy and how to go about it. I like to work backwards. What is it the end result? And then we work backwards from that. And that's how we build it.
But you would rely on data from clients, by cell phone numbers, things like that?
Well,
We don't need cell phone numbers.
Oh, because it's coming from direct mail.
Right.
Right, okay,
Right.
got it. So then you just need to.
They can scan the QR code, and if you test that demo on that QR code, you'll see a thing come
Yeah.
down saying, you can see this to your home screen.
Right.
So then you'll know it's not an app, this is a web-based
Yeah.
example.
Right.
It's a link right on the home screen, so it looks like an app,
Yeah.
and it's just very accessible.
So besides emails, can you do SMS messaging as well? I mean, if you had the telephone numbers or
If we had the
stuff?
telephone numbers,
Okay,
sure.
got it.
Yeah, any of the products or services that we talked about, if you provide us with mobile phone numbers, we could track and link all of those
Right.
through direct mail. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Phil. Our next presenter enters from the left.
Do you have any more handouts? I can
Yes.
wait. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, we have plenty
You
of.
don't think it makes yours?
Our next presenter is from the post office. Carrie and I have been working together the last couple of months because I love this service that the post office is promoting. Right now, it's in the pilot stages, and we've been trying to sign up as many clients as possible. If you mail within the metropolitan or Northern Virginia area, you should do this service. Number one, it's free. And when was the last time the post office gave you something free? No offense. But there's no downside to it, as Carrie will explain how it all works. I think it's a marvelous service. Carrie comes to us all the way from South Dakota, sorry. So she gets the award for coming the furthest. I'll leave it to you, Carrie.
Thank you. Thanks to Dennis too. Again, as you mentioned, we've been working together the last couple of months. He did bring a client on board in order to help test the service, and so I really appreciate the offer to be here and for him to bring other folks into the mix. So we'll go ahead and get started here. And oh, by the way, I was going to mention too on the whole card, thing that you were talking about is, I have all my cards scanned in on my phone, because it's the same thing. I don't like, I'd be carrying something this big if I had to carry all my cards around, right? So great concept. Thank you. So, informed delivery. This is a pilot program that the Postal Service started, and actually started a few years ago. Just have expanded it recently, but it's meant as a consumer-facing service. So, who here, gets mail as a resident, right? Everybody, right? So, I realize that you're largely here to talk about marketing and how you can use mail and other methods to reach out to prospects and customers, but certainly in this case, what I'm going to show you here is how it's a consumer-facing service, and it really ties hard copy mail to the digital environment, right? And the Postal Service understands that mail volumes are declining. Digital is everywhere. We have a lot of digital natives in the room, right, that probably use your phone, grew up on your phone. Dennis was talking earlier, if you want, or Dave, I think was, if you want to figure out how to use an iPad, ask like a 3 or 4-year-old, right? Because they can know more than we do sometimes. So, but it's a simple concept, and the Postal Service is imaging the mail. So even in the case of a handwritten mail piece that's from your grandma, you're going to be able to see examples of that in an email that comes to you in the morning. So I just got my email on I got my email on my phone earlier today, like 8:30, 9 o'clock or so. It came in and showed me some of the pieces that I've been getting in the mail. It's the front exterior of incoming, and it's letter-sized pieces that are going through automated equipment are the ones that are imaged. We'll talk a little bit more how the process works. So the concept is, I was telling them earlier, I said I had some folks redo my presentation. I think they thought they got paid by the word, so we're going to clean some of this up a little bit. Really, the images, tell everything that we need to know, right? So the consumer signs up. So if you're in the 066, 069, 100 through 119 area here in the New York, Connecticut area, you could likely be eligible to sign up for the program, right? So you get the mail. We don't force you to sign up. We're not sending emails to everybody that gets mail every day, right? So it's an opt-in program. The mail is imaged during processing, nothing new. The Postal Service has been imaging mail for years, right? And then generally those images are just discarded after whatever, as you can imagine, millions of pieces of mail going through the system every day. They're ultimately discarded. In this case, we're actually taking them, intercepting them, we're wrapping them up in a bow, as I say, and sending them to you as a consumer in your email. So we match it to your delivery point, which every one of us that lives in whether it's an individual house, a condo, an apartment, has an individual delivery point that really shows that your address is different than my address, it's different than your address, right? And then the daily digest or notification is emailed to you, and then ultimately you get the mail piece. Generally that same day. There are some cases where mail might be delayed a day due to operational windows or whatever, but generally that same day. So for flats, the key difference here, largely, it works the same way in the fact that we do automated processing of flats as well, but we don't take the images of flats today. So in this case, if the mailer, you as mailers provide us an image, we would put that image in the email instead, right? So a copy of your mail piece or your catalog, whatever it happens to be. So this, again, a little busy, I apologize, but a couple of key things to focus on here, right? As a mail owner, you mail today just like you normally do. Folks that are not informed delivery consumers, like folks in South Dakota like me or other places where we don't have this service yet, we just get the physical piece of mail, just like most of you likely do. If you have an ID enrolled subscriber and they get the mail piece, but before they even get the mail piece, they're getting their daily email that shows your mail piece along with all the other mail pieces that are coming to them that day. So it's additional digital impression for no additional fee. As Dennis said earlier, it's kind of a win-win situation in the case of getting those additional digital impressions. Now, if you want to do a campaign, so we're allowing you as mailers to add on content to these mail pieces when they go through the mail stream. So, for example, if you're getting a letter from Kohl's, I get stuff from Kohl's all the time. If I would get something from Kohl's, for example, they'd have the ability to add an interactive content campaign onto that piece of mail that's being sent to me. Meaning they could provide an additional image and a URL that's in that right there. So if I am, for example, at work and I get my daily notification and I get something from Kohl's, and Kohl's happens to be 3 blocks from where I work, but 6 miles from home, I could say, oh, I'm just going to stop at Kohl's on the way home. Look, I got a 30% off coupon. Love those when they send those. So it's again an additional impression with the ability to have that interactive content. So we're just very excited about the whole process and how it works. And again, for flat mail owners, similar concept, with the physical mail piece, but again, we get those images in there.
Can I ask a
yes.
So
Sure.
you have to opt in and getting a letter, but the flash would have to come from the sender, right?
So when you say opt in, first of all, as consumers,
Yes.
we would all opt in as consumers.
Right.
So take off your consumer hat,
Right.
and as a mailer, right?
Yep.
If you conduct a campaign with me, I'm going to make sure that content that you give me, whether it's the image of your catalog,
The coupon.
or whatever it happens to be, you're going to send that to me, and I'm going to make sure that gets appended to, so when your mail piece goes through, they're going to see that image and that URL.
Okay. And the letter is number 10 monarchs. Or what size letters?
Any letter that's
letter.
scanned on automated equipment, they're
Okay.
going to see that
understand.
grayscale image of your mail piece as it goes through, and people are seeing your mail pieces today, right? We have 80,000 subscribers that are in the New York, Connecticut area, that if you're mailing to them and they're informed delivery subscribers, they are seeing your mail pieces as a grayscale image today. And so for you, add a campaign onto that, you're going to get that additional push that you wouldn't get just from that grayscale image. And consumers love this. Who knew, right? I mean, we really didn't understand when we first rolled this out to the extent that the consumers were really going to be so interested in the service. And certainly it's not for everybody, right? But a lot of people we've talked to have said this concept of see notifications prior to the mail delivery, I know it's waiting for me, or in some cases I can modify my behavior, right? I didn't plan on stopping at Kohl's on the way home, but now I'm going to because something came in the mail for me that makes me change my behavior. Visibility and security, what to expect in your box. Some places have higher degrees of theft. I talked to one gal at a webinar session that I was giving that said that, and keep in mind this is a household level view, like your physical mailbox, right? So if we live together, I'm going to see your mail, you're going to see my mail, just like it is in the physical mailbox, right? And the joy of that is that, when you get home, how many of you collect the mail when you get home? Show of hands. So maybe half of you or even a third of you collect the mail. So the ones of you that don't, you may not see mail that is coming for you, right? Hopefully no one in your household's throwing away your first class mail, but potentially, they could be saying, oh, my wife doesn't need to shop at Kohl's this month, because my Kohl's $300, right? So you get to see that. We have a gal that said, you know, her son had come home from school before her and picked up the mail, which happened to have his report card in there. And she came home and said, I saw you got your report card today. It's like, how'd you know that? You know, right? So there's just tons of instances and stories that we've talked to people about how valuable it is. The concept on, I'm traveling, right? I'm across town, I'm across the country, I'm around the world. We have people checking their emails from around the world, right? Military, you know, even if you put your mail on hold, you're still going to be able to see your mail, even though it's not delivered, you're still going to be able to see images of your mail. So just a ton of value, and these are actual quotes. We did a survey of our early adopters here in the New York area, about 10,000 folks we surveyed in February. 5,500 of them responded to the survey. That in and of itself is amazing, right? That kind of response to a survey. 97% are likely to continue using it as a service. It's a no-brainer for the Postal Service to do this, right? So 88% would recommend it to family and friends and colleagues. So then if you look at, you know, the mail owner opportunity, right, or the, you know, marketer opportunity, you get coordinated impressions. David was talking about that before, the concept of mail pieces and email and targeted telemarketing or whatever it happens to be, just really generates that for you. It helps generate that first email and it gets there before the mail piece. Well, self-reported, people are checking at least 4 times a week. We see open rates next slide has it on there, but 70% of our subscribers that get emails open them every day. The majority of them open within 2 hours. So these folks are engaged with their mail and they're engaged digitally. 68% of them said they are excited about digital content coming to them, right? So they're asking you to participate and give them digital content along with their mail. Talk just briefly again, a lot of information on this slide, but the key here, you know, average email open rates, and again, they can range all over the place depending on what you're marketing, but 70% email open rate from our subscribers. So, you know, consumers love it, and really the Postal Service is a business of both, you know, mailers and consumers. We serve everybody, right? We serve the consumers, but we deliver your mail, help you generate income and revenues for your business. So the plan here is to expand the program. We were already in Northern Virginia for a couple of years before we expanded into New York, Connecticut, and now we're going further into the DC metro area in August, September, and then we'll be starting a national deployment after that. So, you know, we'll be going East Coast, West Coast, Texas, Florida, certainly probably larger major metro areas first, but then we're going down to other areas of the country. So use cases, all kinds of use cases here, right? This is not just about direct mail. When I usually talk to folks, I say it's about mail in general, right? Utility companies, you can add value in relation to using that additional space below your mail piece to talk about sustainability or some type of recycling program that might be going on. You know, there's possibilities for even people to potentially, you know, sublet, sell their space, co-market with someone else, right? There's all kinds of opportunities. We're already testing with mail order catalogs. We're already testing. We have several financial services folks in the wings getting ready to test. And that's meaning testing that concept of adding those images and that URL to your mail piece. Question? Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Why do we every single piece of mail I get back, who goes first?
Okay, so she asked in her email, as a consumer, she's going to get images of her mail, and again, it's letter size automated mail. So is it 100% of your mail? No, but probably 80% of your mail. Today, the mail is it's randomly put in order, right? So it's random. It's as it's scanned, as it's processed, as the emails are bundled together, they're put in there. If you run a campaign on a piece, The way it's set up today in the system, your piece floats to the top of it. Okay, now eventually, does it make sense if the Postal Service would say, you know, you want to be on the top, maybe, you know, there's different ways that you could, allow someone space, otherwise you either need to randomize it or whatever it needs to be to keep it even and fair, right? But ultimately, would someone, want to pay, for example, to have a campaign float to the top of an email, potentially? So this is just an example, again, oh yeah, go ahead.
How does that work when you want to add a coupon, say? Do we have to contact the post office, or can we do it online through the system?
Yeah, so today you contact me.
Okay.
Certainly you can contact Dennis first, and Dennis can contact me. He's helped facilitate a campaign already for us, and so it's a manual process today. I want to say, you know, I'm going to send you an Excel file, and you're going to fill out, like, you know, your company name, the start and end dates of your mailing. You're going to give me an image and URL you want to use, and the key is really the mailer ID. That's the MID that's on the mail piece. Based on the intelligent mail barcode. So this is all about technology, right? Intelligent mail barcode is what's driving this. Not only for me to activate your campaign, but for me to see the delivery point of the person that the mail is going to. So it's all tied onto that. And so today, long term, you know, hopefully 6 months from now, for example, if you do interface it all with EDOC and Postal One, you know, it's going to be automated, and then ultimately there will be a mailer portal as well that you can just go in and self-serve and attach the information for your own campaign.
And is there a cost to do that?
There is not a cost today. This is a pilot program. You know, ultimately there are some thoughts of the Postal Service monetizing it. Our goal really is to maintain or grow mail volume, right? This is all tied to the hard copy piece of mail. You heard Dave talk about that. You know, the concept of direct mail and mail in general. We love mail, and we think that it has a lot of value. So that's our goal ultimately. You know, there's others that say, you know, this is an area that other companies offer as services, like sending an email when you send a piece of direct mail, right? So is the Postal Service competing? Should there be a charge? So potentially it could be monetized. Yeah, question.
When this becomes a national thing, how will the post office and consumers know that they should enroll?
Sure, right. So the question is, how would consumers know to enroll? Because most of you are like, never heard of it, right? How do I know? Yeah. So, and it truly, we have 80,000 customers in the service area out of what, 6 million households in you know, the service area here. So, and it truly is for lack of trying. We haven't done any really aggressive user acquisition campaigns at this point. We were stabilizing the system. This is a pilot, you know, so we need to prove everything works and works well. So you will see advertising, you will see direct mail, you will see email. You'll be able to go to, today you could go to www.informeddelivery.com, and you could see if your zip code is eligible. You'd register on USPS.com. You do have to go through an online verification process, like those Equifax questions. You know, they say, did you live on this street or whatever? Because of course we don't, you know, we want to make sure you're the one seeing the images of mail addressed to your house, right? That's pretty important. So other questions? Yeah, oh, bunch, okay.
Is there any capacity now, or plan kind of on the back end for like letting the client know, okay, well, all these pieces of mail are definitely being dropped today, so connect that then back to like their users so that they can,
Yep,
you know,
so,
send an email and make sure that like, hey, we know like you got a coupon in the mail today.
Yep, all that's tied into it. Did you need to talk to Dennis? Judy, are you okay? Okay. Yeah, so it is, all that's tied together. So today, there are scan events that are pulled from your intelligent mail barcode that you likely do some of that to create dashboards for your customers in relation to scan events and say it's out for delivery or whatever, even for letter mail. And we will also provide a post-campaign file to you that gives you detailed information of, was the, you know, on our subscribers, right? Are they a subscriber? Do they get their email? Did they open their email? What time did they open their email? Did they click through? What time they click through? So all of that information will be provided in that file.
But is there any, like, planned ability to track that in closer to real time? Like you could check once a day and say, okay, all these IDs were, got their informed delivery email today.
Right.
And so I wanna make sure that they get, you know, an email or a push notification, whatever, today.
And ultimately, yes, there will be again
Okay.
when it's fully
Right.
automated. So today what I do is I compile the information, I send it to the test participants once a week on Monday.
Okay.
You know, so, but ultimately it'll probably, who knows, it might be hourly, you know,
Right.
who knows, right, when it's automated. And folks like, PromptDirect or Snailworks or whatever would help you potentially facilitate that if you don't have the ability to do it yourself. Did you have a question?
When you say letter size, would that be up to and including a 6x9?
Yes,
Letter size would be anything up to 6x11.
6x11 is
And is there a way to make this exclusive for a consumer? Like say I'm a
Sure.
banking institution and I want to send out invoices or statements, and I want to push that to make sure that they know that they're getting this.
No, because these are emails that people have opted into with the post office, right? So that's the connection. It's not.
Can't make it exclusive.
Right.
Well, the concept is that you could personalize it, right? You could potentially personalize it to me, right? But keep in mind that anyone in my household is going to see the same image. Now, whether or not we could ultimately not let them see the campaign, because it is based on the 11-digit delivery point zip code. So I've had mailers I have a mailer that's planning on doing tests, that's gonna be doing 50 different A/B tests over the course of 3 months, starting in, you know, August or September. And a lot of different variables. The thing of it is today is that you send this file to Carrie and Carrie puts it in the system, right? So I could not support more personalized stuff today, but ultimately, you know, you could to at least to a household.
I think what you have to keep in mind with this service is it is brand new, it is being piloted, and now is the time to get in on the ground floor, right? As it grows, I think it's going to grow technology-wise and have a lot more enhancements, because I think the post office recognizes the value of this. And when Carrie's not around, I'd like to say the post office is finally catching up to the rest of us, because we've been doing this in a different manner, you know, using email addresses that are provided to us. But this is a little bit different tweak to it. These are people who have opted into the post office to give them allow use of their email.
And you're saying if it's a flag, they can get an image just indicating that a piece of mail is coming their way, and that can
Yes.
be personalized?
So this is the concept of the image of, you know, that like this is a Postal Service philatelic catalog, right? So the catalog itself doesn't get scanned, but we have a scan event, and then that event would trigger this. So this is what would show up in your daily email.
Well,
And
we
now,
just-
could I send you one different than I could send the gentleman sitting next to you? Someday in the future, yes, probably, you know, not today. Okay, I had another question in the back.
You
Yeah.
said it was mid-driven. So does that mean that we have to construct the IMV with the mail owner's mid and not the mailing agents?
Okay, great question. So, what we've allowed is that it can be either based on the mailer ID, which is the mid, or the mid and the serial number range within the IMV. So I already have mailers testing today that have given me serial number ranges and say, you know, so that's the way I could do a campaign for her business and a different one for her business and as a mail service provider. I do have a deck just for mail service providers that we can go through and talk to, kind of telling you what your clients or customers might be asking of you to help support them do a campaign. Okay, question?
How many email addresses can be linked to one location?
So, multiples, if you three all live together, you could have all three sign up at your house for 3 emails. If you have 2 homes, you can only have 1 email at this point in time. So I would look and see your emails already used for an address, and so you couldn't use it for a second address. So, but that's something, you
Go
know, we're
to a
looking at.
separate location.
Separate
Only one,
location.
so it's gonna sort it, it's gonna just, the qualifier will be only one, that email. And so
That
if you use
email.
another email address, if you have two.
You could potentially use another email if you wanted to. There's some things in registration that require it to be different and unique, that might be just more than the email, but traditionally in that, it's a little confusing to answer, but, you know, we can do multiples, but it's just you individually can't have multiples. Other questions? Yes?
Is there a URL that you can give us that consumers can go to opt in, and also is there one for businesses only?
So the www.informeddelivery.com, which is a good point, I gotta put this on my presentation, will let you know, you can put in your zip code and see if you can sign up. Okay, we do not have a web page built yet for mailers to support campaigns. We're working on that. But so basically myself, you know, working through Dennis, your point of contact, I'm very responsive. And seriously, if you get me the information, you could be doing a mailing that's hitting the mail stream tomorrow. I could go back tonight if you activate a campaign for you tonight. It's that quick. Now, do I want to do that tonight? Not necessarily. I'm not going to go into Manhattan. So, but I can activate them very quickly. But it is, you know, I take the information that you send me in a simple Excel spreadsheet, and I type it in, and I select the start date and the end date of the campaign, and I append the image that you give me in the URL, and that basically starts activating the campaign as soon as we see that mailer ID or MIN and serial numbers coming through the mail stream.
So when does the scan of this document take place? Is it done
At the last automation point
Okay.
at the post office.
Yep, when we sequence the mail for the carriers, so
Right.
it's I think it might be a 919 scan or something that some folks get in their IMV tracking information that comes through, but it is the last scan event before it's delivered.
So that scan is gonna trigger an email, and that mail should get delivered within 2 days, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of like Planet Tracker except with an image, right? I mean, basically you know that
Well,
it's
but they're sending images, they're sending
Right.
emails, right? That's the added,
Pretty cool.
that's the added value. I've been talking this up, we've been, again, involved with Carrie from almost the very beginning when they first announced this. I thought it was a great service, and we've been promoting it to our clients. In my mind, it's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you do this, right? Even if the percentage of triggers, meaning emails matching up to your database, is small, so what? I mean, you know, it doesn't cost you anything right now.
With the test we did with one of your clients, I think the numbers were like 1,500 emails got sent out and 70% of them got opened. So they had all those additional impressions that they wouldn't have necessarily had.
so the scan is just one side of the document, that letter
It can
document.
be customized.
Okay.
You send to the post office what you want the image to look like.
I see.
Or otherwise, we image the face of the mail piece as it goes through the automated equipment.
So if you had a postcard, you'd see both sides, if that's.
No, just the
Okay,
address.
got it.
Just the address side, but if you wanted to customize it, you can customize what the image looks like.
Would each piece of mail generate a separate email?
Yes.
So it wouldn't,
Well, no, not for your home. You're getting 8 pieces of mail today. You get one email with 8 images of mail
Okay.
pieces. Yep.
folder, huh?
And then you get up to 10 in your email, and then you have a dashboard that you can go to if you get more than 10 pieces of mail. Average is, 5 or 6.
Any other questions?
And I'm between you and lunch, so. Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, let's see.
Good stuff. I'm Mark Barrett. So the name of the company is Snailworks. Okay, good. Excellent. Good stuff. Where's your company located?
Maryland, Frederick, Maryland.
Okay, good. Large company?
We're at 8 people.
Good.
It's a tech company. Yeah, manageable so far.
Excellent. That means your cost.
We deal with technology instead of people right now.
Good. There you go.
like you said, it's a no-brainer, but.
Well, no.
Was working for Croydon.
Oh, okay. Very good. No, it's just, no.
I have some people over there I'm looking into possibly joining, so might be able to use.
Very good, that's it. It's a cool program.
Look more into it.
Very good.
Email notifications. Right now it's 80,000, right? So they match up to your mailing list, how many people are gonna be able to get an informed delivery notice, right, to get your. Yes, it could be small, it could be 1,000
We're not
people.
mixing my list, they don't have their out there themselves.
That's what I was saying, how do I get, okay, so my mailing list, how do you people don't just check my list against the ones?
They're
I
not
don't.
checking your list, so.
No, but how does it?
When your mail
based-
gets scanned,
That's what happens.
I look at the
In
mailer ID.
in the mailer ID, in the IMB barcode is a mailer ID. That's what they're looking for.
To activate your.
Activate, to trigger the email.
Okay, so but you presenting this guy great software?
Yeah.
Because it's only gonna be, they have such a huge list, and everyone's in the, it's saturated, they're gonna probably have a multiple.
Well, I mean,